Hi everybody, I am Judy with the White Pigeon Township Library, and I am really happy to be here today with Rob Vandergiesen Reitsma, and we're standing in front of the Huss School project, which is Rob's his dream come true, I think. We're going to do a couple different things today, but I want to introduce Rob and kind of get an idea where everything stemmed from. Hi Rob.
Hi.
Great to see you. Thanks for having us out.
Thank you for being here. So this project grew out of an organization called Culture is Not Optional. We call it CINO for short. And Culture is Not Optional started in 2001, 2002, mostly as an online organization. So we did online publishing, and we hosted events both in the United States and in Canada. And eventually, the conversations that we were having, which were all about trying to live our deepest values in everyday life, sort of those conversations led to wanting to do that ourselves in the places that we called home. And so my partner Kirsten and I live in Three Rivers. We've lived here since 2002, and we started exploring in 2009 what it would look like to really root our organization in Three Rivers. And that's when we came across a real estate listing for this place. You got to be careful when you're searching the internet and looking at real estate. It can get you into trouble.
Yeah, just a small project.
Yeah, just
here.
a little small fixer-upper. So our organization purchased this building in 2009, and we've been slowly working to renovate it and build it into a community center of sorts. An educational facility that really tries to build our capacity for imagination as a community. And so a lot of the projects that we do are around the kinds of activities that help us do that help us grow imagination. And so we focus a lot on art and food and play. Those are the kinds of things that in our experience and in the experience of many of the neighbors that we've spoken to really help broaden our horizons, help us see the world differently through other eyes. Often when you're eating with a neighbor or a friend, you're sharing stories, you're learning what it looks like for them to live their daily lives and why. And that can be the kind of thing that hopefully makes us self-reflective about the ways that we're living and things that we might want to incorporate into our daily lives as important.
Great. So I know you have a portion of this building over to my right, and that's called the Imaginarium.
Yeah, so last year we engaged in our most ambitious fundraising effort to date and ended up raising $250,000.
Wow.
$50,000 of that was a state grant through Patronicity, which is a crowd granting program. So they match funds that you raise from individual donors. And all of that funding went toward getting this one part of the building functional. So until last year, this entire building did not have heat and therefore didn't have running water. So it really limited our ability to do year-round programming. We still tried some things, but
yeah, I remember being at some of the future fests here with no heat, and things were coming together. But
right, summer programs are a lot easier, and we were able to do a lot of that. We still focus a lot of our energy on the summer, but we were able to get this space running, so it has heat and AC now, running water, 2 bathrooms, including an accessible toilet, and then we also built the pavilion on the north end of the building that we call the front porch, and that has also expanded our ability to do some programming. This year in particular with the pandemic, the pavilion has actually been very useful.
I'll bet.
Because it's large enough that we can gather under it together, but still safely space ourselves and be outdoors with proper ventilation.
Right.
And so that's been a really great asset that we've been able to utilize in our first year. Unfortunately, we have not been able to do events in the Imaginarium yet. We don't feel that it would be a responsible thing to do at this time. So we're waiting until we feel comfortable being able to share that space with neighbors.
Everything has changed for all of us a little bit, so we just ride with it.
But even so, the space has already proven to be enjoyable. Everyone who sees it really loves it.
Great.
We used a lot of old materials, and we actually took out the ceiling and the floor to make it a double level space. So if you go in there, it goes all the way up to the second floor ceiling.
Very cool.
And there's a spiral staircase, and as librarians, you will appreciate the walls are all floor to ceiling bookcases.
Oh, we do
books.
love that.
So the books on the main level are rummage sale books, so anybody can buy those. On the second level, we're going to have a permanent collection of books and films and music, things that have changed people's lives. So again, the theme of imagination. What's the art that has changed your life? What book changed your viewpoint on a certain thing or whatever? So that's what the Imaginarium will be for. Eventually, we'll do event rentals here, things like weddings, but also rentals for other community organizations to do programming in here. We were hoping to do some tutoring programs. We're going to sort of put that on pause for a bit while we figure things out. But so we've got one space up and running. We have a long way to go.
Well, you're getting there. I'm sure it takes time and funding. So
yeah, the funding is always tricky in rural communities. So
we're going to take a look next. There is an urban garden on the property, and I think that's just an amazing thing that they've done. So shall we walk? So we're back here in the garden right now. I'm with Rob, and I'm with Margaret Wenger, who is she's a volunteer farm manager. So we're going to wander around a little bit, see what's growing, ask some questions about where does all this go. Take me on the tour.
Okay, so we have a bunch of stuff growing up here. It's a lot of fall stuff in the front that we had potatoes growing all in here, and then we've switched it over to, we've got some winter hardy crops like daikon radishes, carrots, and beets, and some cabbages up front here. And so they're small still, but it's what can grow in the fall.
And so how about when will these be ready to be harvested, most of the things?
Most of this stuff will probably be harvested sometime mid-October, late October. It kind of depends on when we get cold weather and when we get a hard frost.
So it's pretty light frost hardy, but not...
Yeah, but maybe not a hard frost, but we could get it through some hard frosts if we put like a row cover on top of it. So it just depends. That's why I kind of moved all the crops up front so that we can, if we're pulling out cover and things in the winter, as it's getting colder, we have it all close here.
Okay.
So it kind of just depends on when the temperature dips really low.
All right. Looks like everything's healthy right now.
Yeah, things are growing well. Yeah.
We made it through that little cold snap.
Yeah, that was a mild frost.
Yep.
In some areas anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So most of what you're seeing now is either second or third plantings.
Okay.
So we've already harvested a lot of things. Like these first several rows here were garlic first that we planted last fall, and then I don't know what else did we plant there.
Green beans. I just pulled out green beans this morning. So.
So you're finished with those?
Yeah. Yep. We got some carrots. We had onions in there that are out now.
Wow, it's beautifully tended.
And then some of these things, as we're pulling things out for the fall and winter, we're replacing it with cover crop. So some of this lower lying vegetation that you're seeing is clover, which will help rebuild the soil from the nutrients that were taken out when the vegetables were growing there. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, this entire growing space will be covered in cover crop.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're doing everything organically.
Yeah, we're following all the organic practices, and
We're not certified organic because probably 60 to 70% of our produce that we grow here is given away. We do a distribution every Tuesday, so we just had one this afternoon from 11:30 to 12:30, and any neighbor can come and grab produce that they'd like. We also partner with a number of other agencies within the city. United Community Assistance Program and the Three Rivers Food Site are probably our primary partners. We usually would set up a table of produce at the community kitchen that's hosted by Trinity Episcopal Church. Because of COVID again, all of these things have changed,
Right.
and so we've tried to roll with that and change with it. So this year, for example, instead of having a table at UCAP's offices, because they were not having clients in, that didn't make sense, we worked with them to create a fresh food card, which was effectively a card with funding on it that they could come to our Saturday morning farmers market.
Perfect.
And shop for any fresh food that they'd like.
Okay.
There are
So
a
when
number
you
of-
have your distribution center, does that take place right here on your grounds?
Yep.
All right,
Our
and you
Tuesday
just-
distribution is just right out front.
Pick, set up your tables, and people just come in and take what they need.
Yeah, we've been doing a thing this year to try and keep touching to a minimum where everybody gets a personal shopper, one of our staff people, who walks down the line and asks people what they want and fills the grocery bag.
Great
for them.
idea.
So we've been implementing a number of safety practices to try to limit the spread, which hopefully have been successful. It's hard to say. Yeah, so we have a Saturday morning market, so we also sell there, but most of our produce is distributed to neighbors who wouldn't have access to fresh produce otherwise.
Love that.
The one thing that we really like about the fresh food card is that instead of neighbors who can't afford fresh food getting leftovers, they get their pick just like anybody else. So they can come to our market and pick just like anybody else with any other form of payment. And we really feel like that is a more dignified way for folks to be able to get what they need.
Very
So
good thought.
to also do cooking demonstrations and other things, because not everyone knows what to do with a patty pan. Although we made it our personal mission this year to
I
help
love
people
patty
understand
pans.
patty
We
pan
had a
squash.
bumper crop of patty pan
You
squash this
did?
year.
Are
I
they
would
gone?
We have like hundreds of pounds every week, and everyone's, what is this? It looks like a UFO. But
Yeah.
it tastes like zucchini, guys. Just eat it.
So you grow a little bit of everything, it looks like.
Little
You've
bit of
got,
everything. Yeah, we've got a bunch of tomatoes over here. That's kind of, well, I mean, you can see the kale.
Oh, wow,
here in the
that's a
front
lot of
here, and then
tomatoes.
This is all tomatoes. That's one of our big crops.
all different varieties,
All
or
different varieties. We grow like an Italian paste tomato, and then we grow a bunch of slicing heirloom varieties, and then we have cherry tomatoes as well. A lot
Okay.
of different ones of that. So we grow a lot because people like them. A lot of times people know what to do with tomatoes, and especially the cherry tomatoes are super popular just with families with kids who just
Right,
will
just a good
eat
snack,
vegetables
healthy
because they're
snack.
cherry tomatoes. So
Yeah.
so that's been fun.
you have to give them patty pan squash when they get
Yeah,
a little
right,
older.
right.
Eventually, we hope to do some more education around actually growing the produce as well, so that folks will understand more where food comes from. And we've done a little bit of that with kids and volunteers in the past. It's really enjoyable to watch a kiddo pull a carrot out of the ground and realize that
Yeah, I
that's where
bet.
the carrot comes from, or to eat a cucumber like an apple.
Something they had their hands on in the growing process.
Right.
So how many people do you have that are here with you during the summer to do all this? It looks like a tremendous amount of work. Or Margaret, you do it all?
Yeah, well, no. We had 3 people that were here just for the summer, and then we're here in about 9 weeks from June to August, working here pretty exclusively on the farm with me. And then we also had 4 other AmeriCorps folks that were in and out of this and some other projects around the site here. So, I mean, total between, there was almost 10 of us on site here, and probably on a given day, at least 5 of us were in the garden for most of it.
Okay.
Now we're winding down, so I do end up here alone a lot, but it's getting to be a lot less work, so.
Yeah. Well, it is beautiful. It's really ambitious,
We
too.
also did just purchase 2 acres next to us, including a house that we're using for on-site caretakers, Margaret and her partner Dan. And we're still sort of exploring what that adds
Okay.
to the space. One of the things we really like about the wooded area is all the carbon sequestration that's happening there. Using that as a bit of an educational space. So we just cut a trail through there so that folks can walk through.
Margaret, I see you've got some hives here. Are you the beekeeper as well as the
I'm not.
farm
My
manager?
husband Dan is the beekeeper, but he tells me all about them, and so I know a little bit about them. But
Okay.
yeah, they are helping us here making honey, and also it's great to have bees on a farm because they help pollinate our plants, and so that's great for when the plants flower. We want them to be pollinated so that then they create fruit. So having bees right on your farm is really helpful for
Perfect.
increased yields. So
Yeah,
we're,
I hadn't
we're
even
glad
thought
to
of
have
that
them
really.
here.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, so we're glad to have them here. We've had some hives die in previous years, so these 2 hives are new this year. And so we probably will let them keep most, if not all, of their honey to get them through the winter, but hopefully in subsequent years, A, we'd like to expand and get more hives into this area, and B, to get more hives and then to have them be really healthy, we can start selling and
You
giving
can
away
do honey,
as well,
yeah.
which is wonderful.
That'd be a nice addition to your
Yeah,
other
nice.
offerings. What are
Right.
these? They look like the ornamental grasses to me. Is
Yeah.
that what they are?
It is an ornamental grass. It's called miscanthus grass, and this is the first year it's in, and so it is small for how big it will get. It will get up to 10 or 12 feet, but it's a way to sort of shade the bees here and also to grow our own mulch here on the farm. So when it dries out in the wintertime, we can cut it back in the early spring and then put it out on the fields to kind of
Okay.
keep weeds down and keep plants tucked in and mulched. And that's exciting because it really helps our fertility, and it's really exciting to be able to grow that here on our own
So
farm.
you folks don't stop with just plants and bees. You've got chickens.
Uh-huh.
What else is hiding around here?
Yeah, just chickens for now. We'll see.
Okay,
I mean,
all
maybe
right.
there'll be pigs in the woods someday. No,
Okay,
just
I'll look
kidding.
forward to that.
But yeah, we do have chickens. This is our first year with chickens. There's 27 of them, and they're not laying yet, but they will be laying hopefully in the next couple months. And then we'll have eggs to sell and give away, and so we're excited to have them here, both as just animal friends here on the farm, and they help also increase our soil fertility. They're in a wheeled coop here, so we can move them around to different places throughout the farm, and they'll eat bugs and grasses,
Okay.
and then also help to fertilize the farm.
Now,
So
will you
that's
have to
exciting.
keep them enclosed if you move them into the
Well,
garden
we'll
area?
keep them. We will have to keep them in this fence. Yeah, it won't.
do. They can't just wander.
They can't just wander there. They would be able to fit out of the fence over
Okay.
there, unfortunately. So they'll still this fence, this white fence, is mobile, and that'll come with them, and they'll stay in there wherever they go.
All right. Well, good luck with them.
Yeah, thank you.
Nothing like fresh eggs.
Uh huh.
And we're right outside of
This is our other brand new
new
project.
greenhouse. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob just opened the door, and how hot is it in there? About 120?
Very hot.
Yeah, we're actually looking forward to this space in the middle of the winter to get
Yeah.
warm.
Kind of a solarium for you.
Yeah, so we just built this with help in part from the Three Rivers Area Community Foundation. They helped provide some funding. And so this space will allow us to extend our season a little bit. And so into the fall, we'll be able to grow some things further in and then start our seeds a little bit sooner. We're also hoping to plant things, hot-loving plants like tomatoes and cucumbers in here
Oh.
in the summer. So it will be used throughout the year to grow different things. And to
So
get
you
seeds
could you
started.
grow things during the winter?
We
per se,
probably
that
could.
You
We're
could
not.
eat, like, I don't know what that would be, but
Yeah, probably greens and things like that.
lettuces and
Yeah, we're still sort of exploring what that would be. We're not heating this at all. So oftentimes greenhouses that are growing for winter production are heated. We don't really want to use the energy for that. We may do some cold frames inside the greenhouse, so there'd
Okay.
be a double layer of amplified heat, the greenhouse and then the cold frame, which would be enough to probably have greens produced throughout the winter.
so this will be a whole new learning curve for you too, then, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so we're just
But-
figuring this out. One of the complicating factors on our whole farm, including this space, is that there are a lot of black walnuts in this area, including right there. and there are a lot of things that don't grow under black walnut trees.
I have heard that before.
Yeah, so they produce a toxin called juglone, and it's most prominent in the roots, but it's in everything else too. But it means that things like tomatoes, peppers, all of the nightshades, eggplant, potatoes, none of those things and many other things cannot grow in the soil. So we're actually putting down landscape fabric here, and anything we grow in here will either be in containers or in raised beds with soil that we bring in. So that's one of the challenges of the space. We have recently begun exploring what we can do with black walnut trees to try and not just see them as difficult. And so I think we're going to try and tap a bunch of black walnut trees in our wooded area here. You can make syrup out of it.
Syrup, okay. This is all new since I've last been here, the pavilion.
Yeah, so
Great space.
we built this as part of our project last year, as part of the Imaginarium project. We knew we wanted an outdoor covered area as well. And so we built this pavilion. It's built out of an old barn, primarily, from the old Gleason farm in Three Rivers, which is a historic farm. The barn on the property was starting to come down, and the small organic farm that's there now did not have need for this very large barn that was built for dairy cattle, and they asked us if we would want it, so we decided that we did, and that we would use it. And so we worked with an Amish crew to take down the barn, and then we designed this pavilion here specifically for the site. So it has a lower end on the west side, so that in the afternoon it's a little bit more shaded.
Okay.
It also allows heat to come out the one end.
Nice. Yeah, that's unusual.
Yeah,
But
and
I
then
can see how that works.
we were using these huge old beams from the barn, we were able to have this clear space in the middle, which has been really great. And then just this spring, we finished it by pouring the concrete floor and the ramps out to the sidewalk. We also put ramps into two of our main entrances.
So
to
everything's
the building.
accessible.
So everything's
Perfect.
accessible, which has been great. That had been a goal for a long time, and we were very excited to actually get there. And it's been utilized by our neighbors, and so
Good.
we're
What do you
glad
use
with
the
it.
space for during the summer? Have you been able to use it this summer? I should ask.
Yeah, so we have been able to use it this summer. Some ways that we anticipated. So we do a Saturday morning farmers market on site here. So every Saturday morning, we have we've had 5 to 8 vendors. The market is set up a little bit differently than a farmers market normally is, just because of COVID safety protocols. But we've set it up so that you can order online the night before
I've seen that.
and do curbside pickup, or you can shop the market here. It's a single flow of traffic, and you buy everything and pay at one kiosk at the end. So we do that every Saturday. Next Saturday, the 26th, is actually our last market of
Okay.
the season. We also unexpectedly started hosting open mics here. The Three Rivers open mic that has been held at Lowry's Books.
And we've had them at the library.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had them once a month for an ongoing period.
Yeah, so Andrea and Becca have
Great
been hosting
people.
that for a long time. They have just created a magnificent space for creativity and for expression of all kinds of folks in our community. It's one of the most diverse spaces for expression in our city, and so we've been attending for a long time. And when COVID hit, that went online for a couple of months, and they celebrated their second anniversary in July, and they really wanted to be together in person again. And so they asked us if we would be willing to host. And so we've been hosting that every first Tuesday of the month since July.
Okay.
We're
And will
hoping to
that
do-
continue as long as the weather holds out?
Yeah, we're hoping to do a couple more before the weather turns, and we're trying to come up with some creative ways to keep people warm. But basically, we use the entire pavilion as the stage, and then the green space, the lawn, for audience space.
Okay.
So everyone is appropriately spaced. There's plenty of ventilation. This is the Imaginarium, the interior. So we did a lot of work in this space. We took out the ceiling here and opened this up to the second floor and added this spiral staircase, which was really amusing to get into
I
the
bet
room.
that was fun to install.
Yeah, it was. And then part of the way we designed the space is that because this is a structural brick building, none of the exterior walls were ever insulated. And so to get insulation on the walls, we put in foam board insulation and then basically use these floor-to-ceiling bookshelves
Okay.
as a sort of inverted wall. And
Oh, wow.
So they're hiding the insulation, but also acting as bookshelves.
Well, it's a great touch too. It really keeps the space warm and inviting.
Yeah, and most of the bookshelves were built, well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of it was built using the old barnwood, the same barn that helped build the pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sill shelf right underneath the windows is actually made out of the beams that we took out when we opened the floor up.
Okay.
So we reused all of that. And then eventually upstairs we'll have a permanent collection of works that stays here, and people can, we haven't decided if we're going to do a library model or not, but people can use them or come and listen to records or whatever. And then this space will also host all kinds of events
Right.
in it as well.
And you've got a small kitchen here.
Yeah.
Looks like pretty commercial kitchen. The three sink and
It's a commercial kitchen, but it's not certified.
Okay.
It's set up to be just a prep kitchen, so we can't do cooking here, but you can do dishes and have catering and stuff like that. So we have done a couple of weddings before COVID hit, and used this space and the outside together.
all right.
For an event space. We're hoping to do more of that in the future. That was event rental was intended to bring in a lot of revenue to help support some of the other programs and the additional renovation that we needed to do. And so we're sort of waiting for that to amp up again. In the meantime, this year, we've been using this space. You can see we've got some tomatoes here and some other squash and things in the room. We've been using it just as storage space for the market because it's a temperature controlled room.
Okay,
It's a little
right,
bit easier
keeps things
to use for vegetables.
cool.
Hopefully by
Fresh.
next summer we'll have a different space available for that. But
This is Sheena Opperman, and we found her in the Imaginarium today. She is a volunteer, I take it?
Yeah, an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah,
how the
so
program works?
Vista's a year-long AmeriCorps program where you go into communities and do a year-long service to build the capacity of organizations that are serving communities in need
Okay.
and take on different projects there.
So how long have you been here, Sheena?
Since May.
All right, are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Okay, where are you from?
South Lyon, Michigan, originally.
Oh, that's over by, near the Metro Detroit area, kind
Yeah.
of? Okay, I'm familiar with that. Were you able to choose where you wanted to go for this program, or did they place you?
Yeah, I was able to choose this place, and because I had experience in food systems work before, this option really appealed to me.
Okay. Well, it's a great group of people you're working for.
So, yeah,
All right, well, thanks for talking to us. Appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your year.
great.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to see all that you're doing here, and it's a lot. It looks like you have some big plans for the future, and why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're thinking of for next summer?
sure. Yeah, we have a lot of ideas. We're really hoping to grow the market into a community building event. So every Saturday morning, neighbors can gather, and we hope to do live music and cooking demonstrations, and have the Imaginarium open for coffee shop, and work with some of our local food trucks in town. Have them here on site. Really just bringing neighbors together to enjoy one another's
Sounds like
company.
a great way to spend a Saturday morning. I would
Yeah.
go for that.
So hopefully we'll be doing that, and then hopefully again post-COVID we can do more programming in the building.
Okay.
Right when COVID hit, we were right at this pivot point of starting to do year-round programming. So we're really hoping to expand what it is we do with the facility and with what's available to us with community partners, with our own programs. We'd love to do. We've done storytelling events in the Imaginarium. We'd love to do concerts. Shakespeare readings have been on the list. as well as community-based programs such as knitting groups or tutoring, any number of things that we can host. Yeah. So
Excellent.
hopefully we'll get there.
I think we will get there. I'm sure that we will get there.
Yeah.
But thanks for having us out there. Now, if people would like to, having us out here, if people would like to reach you, how would they do so? I know you have a website for Sino and the Huss Project.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you all for coming out and being interested in
Oh, it's a
community
pleasure.
projects. We really love that. And yeah, if you want to get in touch, you can go to our website, www.hussproject.com or www.cultureisnotoptional.com. You can also look us up on Facebook. Both of those have Facebook pages as well.
Okay.
And then if you go to the website, you can connect to things like our Instagram account and Twitter account and other things. So all those links are there.
Excellent. All right. Thanks so much again.
Thank you very much.
to your staff here, your friends here, and we hope to see you soon.
Sounds good.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much. You're welcome.